Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. And today I'm very excited about this podcast because I love kefir soda, but something new has happened that I want to tell you about. And I've been making kefir soda. It's a bubbly probiotic soda in different ways for probably over 20 years now. There are several different ways to make it, but I've always wanted my own product. I wanted to pick the yeast and the good bacteria that would be in it, and I wanted to make it better than the ones that I had been using. And after testing and experimenting with different good bacteria and yeast, I finally have my own product with the help of cutting-edge cultures who are just fantastic. They've done a great job on this. And it has enhanced benefits. It's super easy to make, and I absolutely love it, and so will you. It's so bubbly that you're going to have to pop the tops on your bottle every day just to make sure they don't overflow or explode, because it ferments pretty fast depending on the temperature in your home. And then once you get a bottle and you make a bottle, the next bottle, you can use that bottle as a starter. And the next bottle will probably be done in a day. So you can just make it over and over again. I'm so excited because we just got the product in, and we've been working on it for over a year here. It's just so much less time consuming than using water kefir crystals. And I've used water kefir crystals throughout the years, but I had stopped for the last couple of years. I stopped using them because I noticed that water kefir crystals were getting less and less consistent for me. I mean, they would do great for a while, and then they'd kind of get problematic. They'd get too many minerals and too little minerals, or they'd get yeasty, or they'd stop growing. And I've been looking for a better alternative, so I started using kefir soda cultures, but they weren't very strong, and I didn't like them as well as I like the one that we made. So now, this Kefir Soda Starter that I have, which is different than the one we were using, is dairy-free. So people can make this too. Water kefir crystals are still good. It's just, they just drive me crazy. I mean, they literally drive me nuts. They are great for a while, and then the weather changes, and they don't like it, and they're very susceptible to cold and heat. And then they just drove me crazy. Let's just tell me, I love this kefir soda, and I've been making it like crazy, and I'm really excited to introduce it to you. I think you're going to love it. It's so easy to make. You're going to get a lot of health benefits, and it's got one of my favorite yeasts in it that helps make it bubbly, and I'm going to explain it all to you. So let's get into the health benefits of this soda. So I handpicked these bacterias and good yeast for the starter, and one of the first bacterias that we picked was Lennocostic menestrodes. I hope I said that right. And there's also Lactobacillus debrueckii, and they are both in milk kefir, these two cultures, which is why I called it kefir soda. And they're very powerful, potent microbes. Now, Lennocosta is responsible for initiating the lactic acid fermentation of like yogurts, kefir dairy products. It's really good in cultured vegetables too, pickles, sauerkrauts. It's also in those, and it's very strong. It starts producing the lactic acid bacteria that you need to ferment something, which drops the pH and allows it to really grow powerful microbes, good bacteria that's going to help you. It's so powerful that it can inhibit the growth of pathogens, and they also have some studies they've done, quite a few studies they've done, on how it prevents avian influenza and H1N1 flus. It's a very powerful bacteria, and it's in a lot of fermented products, especially dairy products. Now, Lactobacillus debrueckii can help the body break down the food. That's another bacteria that's in the kefir soda. It helps absorb nutrients. It fights off bad organisms that might cause disease, things that cause diarrhea, or it can relieve symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. And it also is a very powerful good bacteria that helps with digestion. Now, L. bulgarius, and L. lactis, those are both in like Bulgarian yogurts and in my Yogurt Plus. Those are very powerful strains. And they're very well-studied probiotic species. But what's really interesting is they've been shown to have a very similar DNA to this Delbrueckii, and since it has been considered to be a subspecies, now they've actually put it in the same category with Bulgarius, and it's a very great thing in addition to your microbiome that you probably already have some. But, they've done a lot of studies. I mean, there was one study that showed that so many people in Bulgarian lived to be over 100 because of these species that they had in their gut. And there's a lot of documentation on that. But this is also going to be in the Kefir Soda Starter. So it's a very powerful thing. Now, the other bacteria that's in this soda starter, which is one of my very favorites, is Bifidolongum. And it is regarded one of the most beneficial members of the human gut microbe. You want a lot of bifidobacteria. It is one of those bacteria that's going to feed all the other bacteria if you take care of it. And I've written several articles on it, how important it is. I have another Yogurt Plus has it in it, one of my yogurt starters, because I think it's so important. They call it the young bacteria. It keeps you young, but it also gives you energy. And as you get older, it declines. And so this is going to be in the soda too, which I know it also helps to make it bubbly and give it more beneficial bacterias, but it's very powerful. And when you have lower levels of this particular bacteria, it has been shown that in obese people, diabetic individuals, and especially people who've been taking a lot of antibiotics, they get very low levels of this wonderful bacteria that's like one of the most important ones you can eat or can have in your gut. And those suffering from irritable bowel syndromes or inflammatory bowel diseases also have shown lower levels of bifido. So it also works on anxiety and depression, things like that. It really does help with those things. It can also inhibit inflammation by regulating the balance of the immune system, and it can improve your intestinal barrier function, which is really important. So now I want to talk about the yeast that's in the Kefir Soda Starter. Saccharomyces boulardii is hands down my favorite probiotic yeast. Not only will it make this soda super bubbly, but it has a ton of health benefits. And not only can it not be killed by antibiotics, it has helped with all different kinds of ailments. So they've done over 53 randomized controlled clinical trials encompassing 8,475 subjects that investigated the safety and efficiency of S. boulardii. The studies were done in pediatrics and adult patients in which they found it had an 81% efficiency rating. Now, it has been used to treat things like C. diff, acute diarrhea, antibiotic-associated diarrhea, some parasitic forms of diarrhea, and other gastrointestinal orders. Now, S. boulardii is a yeast, but it is unrelated to the yeast Candida and other Candida species. When you have Candida proliferating, it will decrease the acidity of the gut, making it very susceptible to harmful bacteria and yeast. Now, S. boulardii will exert the opposite effect, producing lactic and other acids known to inhibit potentially harmful Candida yeast and Candida species. There's more than one type. There's different species. So, one of the things to note is that this particular yeast is absent from the natural gut since it's a transient yeast. And that means that it passes through the intestines after ingestion and it doesn't stay very long. If taken every day, if you take S. boulardii every day or if you drink Kefir soda, it will produce a steady stream in the colon within 3 days. And it is cleared from the stools in 2 to 5 days. So it does not attach to the mucosal cell lining, but works its magic on you as it moves through the gastrointestinal tract. When S. boulardii is present, it inhibits toxins from binding to intestinal receptors and steals the metabolites or their food that it needs to survive. So the pathogens then pass out of the body, unable to survive in the presence of this powerful probiotic. They even found that it works on strains like E. coli, Salmonella, and S. typhia, which adheres to the surface of S. boulardii. So it attaches itself to S. boulardii because it thinks it's a friend, but it's not. They think, oh, this is a friendly yeast, so I'm going to attach myself to it. Then once it attaches itself to S. boulardii, It can't attach itself to the mucosal lining, and it passes through the body, rendering this particular pathogen harmless, or all of those different types of pathogens. So here's what it does, just to narrow it down. So you don't have this naturally present in the body, but when you do, the other harmful yeast or bacteria will attach themselves to Aspergillosis, thinking that it's a friend. Aspergillosis steals its food, keeps it attached to it, and then when Aspergillosis exits the body in a few days, it takes the pathogens with it. One of the most important things you can do to have good gut health is to protect that mucosal lining. And the way that you do that is there's a special bacteria in the gut called Akkermansia that needs to be in its perfect shape, which it is. It protects your gut lining. It can do both things. It can actually eat the gut lining and it can protect the gut lining. So if it doesn't have the right food, Akkermansia, it will actually eat the lining of the gut. But if it has enough of the food, which is things like apple peels and fruits, and I've written a whole article on it, and I'll put that in the link description below. But if it has enough of the right types of food and you feed that Akkermansia, it protects your gut lining and keeps those pathogens out as well. And the Aspergillosis can assist in that. So that's a powerful tool to keep that gut lining intact so you don't have all kinds of health problems like leaky gut syndrome. And these are powerful bacteria that are designed to keep you healthy, that are naturally present in your body. But often we kill them with antibiotics and other things. And then our gut lining becomes compromised. And then we have all kinds of things flooding into our bloodstream that shouldn't belong there. And bacteria is designed to keep that in the perfect balance. So now I've learned a couple of things about Aspergillosis when I started drinking kefir soda. And actually Aspergillosis is in kombucha too. So that's powerful too. But it has different bacteria in kombucha as versus kefir soda. So Aspergillosis feeds on the sugars in kefir soda while it ferments. It consumes them and it makes it a strong concentration of this probiotic when you consume it. So you get a lot of Aspergillosis. Now, if you have a lot of sugar in your diet, the Aspergillosis is not going to fight Candida. What it's going to do is that Aspergillosis is going to have a feast on the sugary food that you just ate if you're having kefir soda with it. So if you really want to get rid of Candida, have the kefir soda without any sugar in your diet and watch Aspergillosis work its magic, because that's how it works. So you don't want to have a lot of sugar when you're having the kefir soda because it's just going to feast on that. It's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to work its magic on you like it would if it wasn't chomping away on all the sugars in your body. So that's another thing to be aware of, but it's also a great tool for you to help you to get rid of some of the things that have maybe been problematic for you. And Aspergillosis is good at that. Now, we have a lot of good bacteria and yeast in this soda. For instance, we have, I think it's, 2.88 billion colony-forming units of bacteria and yeast in this. And if you go to the article, and I always have an article with my podcast, you'll see the graph and it'll show you exactly how many bacteria and good yeast you're getting from this soda. It's kind of cool. And it actually, the more you drink it, the more you make it, these numbers get even higher. So when you're making kefir soda, let me tell you how easy it is. You're going to take 2 cups of fruit juice, and it can be fresh, frozen, or bottled. Just make sure it doesn't have any kind of sugar substitutes like Splenda, or because they put them in there and they don't tell you anymore. So make sure none of that will work to make kefir soda. It's got to be pure fruit juice. You need a package of my Kefir Soda Starter, and you need 2 cups of water, and that is it. And you pour the juice into the bottle with the soda starter, and you mix it up beforehand. And I use a little funnel to get into the soda, and then you add 2 cups of water, and then you just let it ferment, and it'll ferment. It'll ferment in 3 to 5 days. Okay, so if your house is between 70 to 75, it'll take about 3 days. If it's below that, it might take 4 days or 5 days. But once you get that first bottle made, and you need to check it every day, pop the top, see if the fizz comes out, it gets foamy. Once it gets fizzy, you put it in the fridge right away, and you can use a half a cup of that bottle to make another bottle, and it will make it probably in a day, maybe 2 at the very most. Sometimes it makes it in a half a day if your house is warm. And you can do that again and again and again. I've made dozens of bottles off of one starter package. And it just keeps going as long as I keep making it. And basically, you're feeding the bacteria and yeast to keep them healthy when you make soda all the time. It works it's so easy. So it's water, half juice, and a soda package, or you can use the starter from the bottle you've already made, and that is it. And then you let the microbes do the work. You need to get really good bottles made for brewing, because this is very strong and bubbly and could explode if you use those craft bottles at like Michael's or TJ Maxx. You need to get good ones made for brewing, like for beer or steak. And I have links on my website, and I just send you to Amazon. They have some really good ones. You can get like a 6-pack of them, and they have the flip top lids, where you can flip the tops. That allows some of the pressure to get out, and you can just stick it in your fridge. This is best drunk within a week or two, but believe me, you'll be wanting to drink a lot of it. And it's one of the funnest cultures that I make. And I've loved making kefir soda for years, but the culture I was using didn't always work, and that drove me crazy too. So designed our own. And I'm really excited because this Sunday, if you're listening new, is the Super Bowl. And one of our teams, the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, we lived in Kansas City for 20 years before we moved to California. So they're our team. So they're in the Super Bowl. So I actually got one of those, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if it's a growler or whatever, but it has something where you can dispense it. And I got a big one. So we can have it in the room while we're watching the Super Bowl, and everybody can have kefir soda. Keeps it cold. It keeps it, really, it's fun when it comes out because it gets super foamy and fizzy, and everybody will really like it. So I've got that coming. Going to test that. I'll let you know how that works out. But one of the other people that work for me got one too. So we're going to test it out, because then you can make a bunch in there and it'll stay cold all day. And then you can keep it in your fridge too, but it's kind of fun. It's something fun to have, because we drink so much kefir soda, but especially for the Super Bowl. It's such a great alternative. I mean, we don't drink, alcohol. We don't really have beer or anything like that. We don't do that. So this is kind of our good for your gut probiotic soda that we just absolutely love. I think it tastes way better than beer, and it's so much better for you. No hangovers, nothing but health benefits, and lots of fun. And anybody can make this. It's so easy. I am so excited about this soda starter. I've wanted this for so long, and it's I just see so many problems with people drinking regular soda. I think that even the ones that don't have sugar in them have some really harmful non-sweeteners they use that I really don't like, that can really wreak havoc on your body, on different parts of your body, your thyroid, your eyes. There's a whole bunch of things that I've seen happen. So ditch your Diet Coke, ditch your regular drinks, and start drinking kefir soda that gives you billions of probiotics, health benefits, makes you feel so good. It's such a pickup too. Makes you feel so much better. Doesn't give you any of the hangovers all these other ones have. It tastes delicious. It's fun to make. It's easy to make. I'm just trying to get everybody to switch to probiotic soda. It's so much better for you. And a lot of the ones in the stores, they say they have to flash pasteurize them a little bit, so you lose a lot of the beneficial bacteria and yeast, because they can overflow on store shelves if they stay too long. So if you make your own, you won't have that problem. You can just flip the top, once a day, just to check it. Even in the fridge, I would recommend popping the tops just to double check, because it gets very bubbly. And if you like that kind of thing, you're going to love this soda. So check it out. I'll send you the links below on my website, or go to culturedfoodlife.com and look under products or my store. I have a lot of cultures, but this is one of the most exciting ones we've ever done. I just really love it. So anyway, 20 years in the making of me wanting it. It didn't take that long to make, but it took me a long time to get. So I'm very excited. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it'll change your life, because I think everybody needs a little bit more Saccharomyces boulardii and some of the bifido and some of the other good bacteria and yeast that will help create a really healthy microbiome. So thanks for listening. I hope that you'll give it a try. And if not, drink kombucha instead of unhealthy sodas. Much better for you. Any of these sodas, be it kombucha or kefir soda, are so much better for you, and see what a difference it can make in life. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.